Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is BoxN1. I'm your host, Ralph Wright. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Elise Clyburn. How you doing today?
Blessed and highly favored today. How are you doing?
Oh, you back on the blessed and highly favored. I am alive, so I am on that blessed and highly favored train as well. Why? Because it is another day, another session, another opportunity for us to speak what we love, the game of basketball. Today, we're going to focus on the Northwest Division, which it's kind of packed. It's been a stale but busy off season for this division. As far as it's basically been a coach and a half as far as coaching changes go. You got the reigning MVP coming out of there. You got the reigning defensive player of the year coming out of there, although he probably didn't deserve that award. But top to bottom, there's a lot of youth.
Mm-hmm.
There's not just youth as far as age, but talent wise, there's a lot of good out there. So let's get the ball rolling. I'm gonna shout this out early. My brother is a Nuggets fan.
All right.
So just know
who's this player? Who's his favorite player on the Nuggets?
I honestly, we talk Nuggets. I never ask him who his favorite player is because he's been a Nuggets fan just as long as I've been a Lakers fan.
Gotcha.
So, we got family that live in Denver too. So shout out to my Denver family.
Hey.
So let's get going. Matter of fact, we'll get there, but shout out to CC too, because she's out there in Colorado.
Shout
out to CC. But let's get this ball rolling. Let's start in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I think it's nice to start there. There's so much to be talked about with Oklahoma.
Where to start? Where to begin with them?
We could start with SGA, with Shea Gilchrist,
I think
Alexander.
That's what
He's the catalyst. He's the main catalyst of the team. He put up phenomenal numbers last year before he got hurt, or when he wasn't hurt. So
for sure,
the real question now for him is, can he stay healthy for majority of the year?
And I think another good question is, this is his team officially, right?
Officially. So this is his second year with that coach. This is the first year in his career where he's had a coach 2 years in a row. So I think that's huge. When you look at that dynamic, he has to be able to provide those stats and win. And I feel like it stinks for him because he's in a pretty tough division and predicament. But they bring back most of their team,
which is good, which is something different for them since, the last couple of years since the departure of Westbrook, they've been in a constant flux of new players. I'm looking at Shea's stats from last season. Like, I didn't watch too many of their games, full disclosure, right? So I didn't realize my man was putting up almost 24, 5, and 6. So he was out there hooping. I was going to put him down for something else that we were going to do at the end of this. But like, after you told me, like, yo, did you look at his stats? And I remember looking at him like, yo, there's almost no more better he can do other than doing a double-double.
Yeah. That and honestly is just translating those stats and the wins. Not to compare, but you got to look at Trey, right? Trey shown, because before they're like, oh, those are empty stats. Well, Trey showed that he can win and still put up those numbers. So I think it's time, for Shea in that sense. He's been tutelage basically under when he was in the Clippers with Doc Rivers, right? He's been with Chris Paul. He's been under Chris Paul. Last year, the keys were given to him.
Yep.
And understanding that the keys were given to him, I think he answered the call.
He clearly did, statistically, if I'm looking at it.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay, well, what else can he do? Now it's leadership. Can he bring those other along? So translating, going even from Shea, Now we got to talk Beasley because this is year three, right? This is about year 3 for Beasley.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the first guys to forego the college experience and signed an internship with New Balance. So, I mean, he's kind of you have to say he's a groundbreaking trendsetter. I liked his development throughout his first 2 years. Honestly, he seemed a little bit more aggressive offensively at times, which I liked that from the games I did see. But if I look at him statistically, sorry guys, I'm using my cell phone to pull up stats today. He did have a more productive year. His minutes per game has definitely gone up. So that means that the coaching staff over there, they're starting to trust him a lot more. I mean, he averaged about 14 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 2 assists. The 7 rebounds is what's impressive for him because he's not like a super big guy. Even though he's 6'8", his frame isn't super big. So I mean, I think so far, so he's playing in these last 3 preseason games, 23 minutes a game, which is on the lower side. He's only attempting about 6 shots a game, so that has to increase,
I mean, but the thing is with preseason too, they're not gonna always show those minutes.
Yeah.
So, or those players aren't always gonna get those minutes throughout the preseason. That's what happens when the season starts. Yeah. I'm looking for him to, I think this is a make or break year for him where, he averaged 14, but can he get to that 17, 18 consistently? Can he be that feature on offense? Because it has to be more than just Shea. Shea needs help. You know what I mean? Okay. And Shea did get help last year from AP, the big guy, 7-footer. Yeah. The only reason I'm calling him AP is because I do not want to botch his last name.
I'll look it up so I can get it for you. So just keep talking.
No, I have it, but I don't want to botch it up.
You know me, I don't care. I'll say it. I'll attempt it. Come on. I said Victor
I know you would, but I don't want to do him like that because I respect his game. He came on at the end of the year last year. He started to show his value. That was their pick from last year. He's a 7-footer that can play the 3, 4, and the 5. He's athletic. He can shoot. He has a little bop in him. So I'm looking for another big year I'm looking for him. I'm looking for consistency. Because now if he can be consistent in what he was doing at the end of the year, because I don't know if you remember, like at the end of the year, him and Moses Brown, they both started, their game started elevating towards the end of the year. They trade Moses Brown away. Okay. So understanding how's that going to affect him? Right? Because I think that him and Moses Brown ate into Beasley's minutes at the end of the year. So it's going to be interesting to see that. When I did watch them in preseason, I didn't see him.
So I'm gonna try attempt his name. Okay, Alexei Pokusevsky.
Sure.
Alexei Pokusevsky. So I follow him on Instagram. He's actually pretty good Instagram follow. My man got a little swag. I like him. His game near the end of the season last year, just the confidence went totally up. Yeah. He started getting in his bag. He started pulling out moves. He started, ball handling a lot more. Beginning of the year, he's trying to learn the speed, trying to learn the pace of the game.
Came in at 192, so.
Oh man, 190 is 7 feet tall, guys. Like I don't think y'all.
Paper mache.
Oh my gosh, like he can stand behind like a twig, and hide. But his skill set is very interesting. These European guys, man, they're coming in skinny, but man, they coming in ready.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, I like this kid. We'll see. Like for him, last season he averaged near the end of the year, like about 8 points a game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is last season stats I'm looking or preseason stats, but I don't think I saw him during some of the preseason games.
I don't remember watching him play in preseason.
So they have him down for 8 points, 5 assists. 8 points, about 5 rebounds, 2 assists a game. Mm-hmm. Dude, if he is able, since they traded Moses, if he's able to get, 20 minutes a game, possible most improved.
When he was getting 30 last year, he was putting up numbers.
Correct.
So yeah, his stats last year is 8, but you have to remember, like, the last month and a half is when things change for him.
Right.
So I look at it like this. we said earlier that Shea needs help, right? He shows positive signs of development. You mentioned that Beasley showed signs of development. They get rid of a lot of their vets that they've had over the course of last year. They bring in a guy from New Orleans. No, the guy from the Jazz, Derek Favors. They bring him in, right? They have bodies. Now they got to be able to get, like I said, they bring back a lot of their players. They drafted really, really good this year too. They got Josh Giddey, who he's one of those guys, like, I don't have anything bad to say. He's been high on my radar. He's from the NBL. He's been high on my radar. He's been showing out. It's looking like him and Shea are going to be the starting backcourt, which is good.
Tell me a little bit more about him. I know we don't want to stay too long, OKC, but tell me a little bit more about him because, I'm a big draft person. The closer we got to the draft, Giddey's name started rising, and I didn't know much about him. And I'm pretty sure most of our viewers won't know much about him.
I mean, Giddey comes straight from the NBL from Australia. He definitely played. I believe he played the year that RJ Hampton and Melo played. I believe he was on a team when he was there. I remember seeing clips of him early on last year, and I was like, "Oh, he's 6'8", and he's a point guard, and he's that smooth." I said, "Okay, he's not athletic as Melo, right? As LaMelo, but his skill set is very similar when you're talking passing. No, I'm not saying he's the best. He's a better passer. He's a good player. He's a good player, and I feel like depending on how his confidence grows, him playing with Shea is going to put them in kind of in that area when it was Shea and Chris Paul starting. But now you have two guys that are both over 6'6", starting at point guard. Get it in one of their hands, it's a wrap. He's an on target good passer. He makes the passes that most people don't see. So that's what I like about him.
Can I go over some of his stats throughout the preseason?
Yeah, I know he's been killing.
So he's been playing about 29 minutes a game, averaging 13.5 points a game, shooting 52.3% from the field. From 3-point, he's averaging 40%, but he's taking about three threes a game. So he's hitting. He's shooting. He's hitting 1 or 2 a game, so that's really good.
He's a pass first guy.
He wasn't able really to get to the free throw line as much, but if he's pass first, he's not looking to score too much at the rim. He has been averaging 7 rebounds a game, which for your guard, that's really, really good. 5 assists a game with only 2. With only 2 turnovers a game. I mean, that's great turnover assist ratio.
Sample size, and that's good. So. Yeah.
He doesn't foul much, about 2.5 fouls a game. So that means he's either with his length, at 6'8", he doesn't really have to do much to really disturb some shots.
This depends on coaching because, Shea's a better defender.
Correct.
Shea's a better on-ball defender. So you're not really going to put him, Giddey, on your best, But what this does is it takes pressure off of Shea. Because now Shea doesn't have to facilitate for everybody. Shea doesn't have to get his own basket. Shea doesn't have to defend the best perimeter. Well, he wasn't always defending the best, because that leads us to Lou Dort. Lou Dort showed, he got his contract over the summer. He showed that he's a phenomenal defender, but he also showed that he can shoot. This is a guy in the playoffs as a rookie. He showed out. So one could only imagine, once this team starts coming together, they have a bunch of guys, and then
they're drafting well. OKC's doing what they've been doing. They're drafting well now. They hit the lottery 3 times. With KD, Russell, and James Harden. But clearly they have a very competent front office. So they're doing a good job.
I look forward to seeing if Trey Mann does play this year. What he can add, and then Jeremiah Robinson Earl from out of Villanova. This was a guy who at one point, everybody thought he was going to be a lottery pick last year because the way he was playing. So, you get him in the second round, that's a steal. And then he plays a position in which you need, I think him and Beasley could work off together. So if you don't have anything left on OKC, we could transition to the next squad. I'm thinking about going to Minnesota.
Let's go to
Minnesota.
They've had
Minnesota.
one hell of a Minnesota as a state's had one hell of 2 years.
Minnesota's had a ride of 2 years. This is a team too that, they've been in the news for all the wrong reasons too. Unfortunately. So how does that affect the players? You just got new ownership. I saw an interview with A-Rod talking about, the expectations, and he's like, well, we're just trying to build. We have a 5-year plan. And I'm like, listen, with the talent that you have, you should at least say our goal is the playoffs.
This isn't baseball, A-Rod.
This is you got an 82 game season. This is Cat's seventh year. This
Same
is
D'Lo.
Yeah, 6-7 year. D'Lo has touched the playoffs, right? Malik Beasley has touched the playoffs. You just bring in and made a trade to bring in Pat Bev, who's been touching the playoffs and has been game short from, the pinnacle. So you bring in that experience. I'm not thinking that and we've had this conversation on Twitter. I see the Wolves have the potential to be a good playoff team if healthy. Their problem in the last couple of years is that they couldn't stay healthy. Cat catching COVID, and then I mean he lost his mind.
Everything Cat's gone through with COVID.
Yeah. So I feel like Cat has a statement. We've talked about it a lot where we both feel Cat's top 3 big, and 3's not the number. I think it's between him, Jokic, and Embiid. You're looking at some of the best bigs in the league because of what they can do, not just in the paint. This Cat's he was a 40% 3-point shooter the last 2 years.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull him, but you can keep talking. I'll pull it up.
He might be a little bit more, but either way, like I'm looking for him to be healthy. I'm looking for D'Angelo Russell to be healthy. And if those two can be healthy, I'm looking at improvements to Ant. And you can't, and then Malik Beasley, he got his court situation situated. So now he can focus on the court. You bring in Taurean Prince, right? Who's a good, solid defender. You bring him in. This is now year 3 for Josh Okogie. Like he was a good defender. He made Andrew Wiggins dispensable, right? So you could make certain trades. So now you look at this team, and then Jaden McDaniels is his second year. So and he had flashes last year. So now it's like it's gonna come down to coaching because you have the players. If these players can stay healthy, you're looking at a playoff team or a team fighting for the playoffs. I know
it's crazy. You didn't even mention their first round draft pick from last season at all.
I said Ant.
I didn't even hear that. I didn't even hear you say that. I was about to say, we have one of the rawest athletes in the NBA right now.
No, I said, well, I'm looking for Ant to improve off of what he did last year because the light clicked for him the last 3-4 months of the league, and everybody's like, oh, well, he should have got Rookie of the Year. It's like, nah, because Melo was doing it from the jump. The problem was he wasn't getting minutes. Now, and everybody's like, well, they just decided that Ant should have been playing at the end of the game, and your boy told me that, right? And I'm
So last season for Carlton Towns was probably the hardest. I want to say it's not the worst of his career, clearly, because the first year he showed signs, like his rookie season, he showed shines, but obviously it was a huge jump physically for him. So 2019-20 to 20 season, from the field, he shot 51%, about 51% from the field, 41.2 from 3. Last year, he shot 48.6 from the field, 38.7 from 3. If he was a guard, I'm ecstatic about those, right?
Yeah, those are great numbers for a guard. Unfortunately, he's a big. So that means he's shooting more than he is getting near the basket.
Yeah, so if I go to his free throw attempts, right? I mean, he's a great free throw shooter. He's getting 6 free throw attempts a game.
Not enough.
I would like to see that in double figures.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why, and I look at it like this, that's why he's overlooked at his position for being one of the better players at his position. Is because he's not getting to the free throw line enough, or not just that he's not getting a free throw line enough, he's shooting too much, which at the end of the day, you're shooting 38% from a 3-point line. That's the green light for any player in the league.
It's still pretty good.
Yes. That just means for almost every 4 3-pointers, 10 3-pointers, you're making almost 4 of them. What coach isn't going to want that? Right? He's shooting better than Luka.
Well, and check this out. Like, I know you said he's probably a top 3 post. I never have Carl Anthony. Like, the skill set is there, the skills there, the abilities there. I never have him in my top 3 of post players for the mere fact that he is outside entirely too much when he has the footwork and speed to just get by the person who's guarding him. So I can't put him in the top 3. Is he top 5 for me? For sure. Top 3. I can't put him in there for a top 3 post.
Outlandishly though, I would say he could be a better version of Anthony Davis.
For sure. That's not at all. He's way more physical. The worst part is that he plays a physical game.
So it comes down to coaching, which we've talked about. And once again, like, I don't think any player, and he's addressed this too. He's one of those guys that I root for to win. Like, I want him to win. And I kind of want him to win in Minnesota only because, Minnesota had their chance with KG and Steph Marbury, and, whatever happened between KG and them, that's their thing. But it's like, if you're not going to do anything for this man, he lost the guy that drafted him, he lost him. Right? So the guy that actually had a plan for these guys and he was going to build something with these guys, it was an unexpected death. And, he still has to deal with that. He still has to mourn. He still showed up to work, and not only did he still show up to work, he shows up to, he's improved. So, and then, the last 18, 24 months, he's been going through it. I think this year, it'll be best if this Minnesota franchise decides what they're going to do.
Well, they don't know what they're going to do if we look at what's going on in the front office. And I think you hit the nail on the head. They have the talent. Will the coaches be able to focus on that? So as a coach in college, if my AD was talking reckless or doing crazy things, that the president is making mandates here, there, and everywhere, the last thing, not really the last thing, but it's taking time away from the players and the X's and O's. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's managed, more the off-court stuff than on-court stuff. And honestly, as fans, we're not going to know too much about that.
But we'll see it. We will see it because we understand the game within the game and how it affects players. You have to be professional. But like I said, they weren't too professional. Management wasn't too professional, and that's why they're kind of in the situation that they're in. I don't really want to harp too much on that because we're not here for that. We're here to talk the game, So when it comes down to it, there's a lot of players on this team that I'm looking to, if healthy, have a redemption year. This team could be a very, very tough play night in and night out. Yeah. All they need to do is steal 2 or 3 games from teams that they're not supposed to be beating.
Which is possible.
And they have the talent to do it. They have the makeup. Whether it happens, we'll see.
Yeah.
So now let's get into fun. Let's get into the fun because this.
Who we got?
I don't know where I want to go. I don't want to go to the mountains yet. Let's go to Portland.
Okay.
Because I feel like this team, out of all the teams, has had the most drama in this division this past summer.
Yeah.
And I think it was more. I think it was more media. I think the drama was more media orchestrated than they're actually being drama.
I'll say this. Out of all the teams in the West, to me, they're the team that did not get better. They did not get better. Your biggest pickup is Larry Nance Jr. No, Larry Nance Jr. Has he been underrated his entire career? Yes. Does that push you over the edge of 6th place in the West?
All right, so here's what we have to discuss. This is another team that is injury riddled, and they've been injury riddled for the last 6 years.
Why is that?
Training. You
Is
can
it
say
training?
coaching. No, it's definitely all right. Let's.
Is it training or is it training staff? Because at a certain time, I don't know if they made training staff changes. It's not my team.
I don't know. But what I will say is this, right? You had Zach Collins, who's been hurt for basically 3 seasons, right? Nurkic has been hurt almost every year he's been in Portland. And a lot of times it's a freak accident. It's like a freak accident injury. You can't account for that, right?
Yeah.
Dame got hurt. CJ got hurt. And CJ hurt his back in the bubble. So CJ came on late. This is the first year, I want to say, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, that they've had Nurkic, Dame, and CJ healthy going into the season.
So, quick question for you, right? Would you rather have a healthy Zach Collins or Nance Jr.?
Larry Nance hasn't played. I mean, not Larry Nance. Zach Collins hasn't played in basically 3 seasons, right?
When healthy.
When healthy. But you already did. All right. So what they've done, what Portland already did is they kind of replaced him with Robert Covington. I'm not saying Robert Covington has the skill set of a Zach Collins, but Robert Covington is a 3-and-D big that can play the 3, 4, and the 5. He can help you defensively. His problem was he didn't show up offensively in the playoffs. Larry Nance Jr. is going to get you those rebounds. He's going to go get it. He's an energy guy. A lot of time, like when you look at how they used, and this was Terry Stotts, they got a new coach. They got Chauncey. We still have to find out what Chauncey's style of coaching is going to be, what system he's going to implement.
Has he coached before?
Sideline as an assistant, but not as a head coach.
And for how long?
Probably just last year, to be honest.
So
I'm not 100% sure.
This is interesting, like I'm sorry. I honestly thought they would have went if they're gonna go with a former point guard in the NBA. Chauncey Billups, maybe. He's been coaching for a lot longer. He's been on.
You mean Sam Cassell?
Sam Cassell, my fault. Sorry.
That's why they hired Chauncey.
That's literally who they hired was Chauncey. Wow. But Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell got championships. He got multiple.
In multiple championships.
Yeah, as a player.
But we're gonna go with a guy who has maybe 1 year coaching. Who, from all standpoints, I want to say Stephen A. Smith was like, man, this could be a really good front office guy one day, and now he's coaching.
I mean,
it's gonna be
that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's to what I'm saying is we don't know his style, we don't know his system, so they don't need another star.
No,
they need a guy that can come in. They have another athletic guy that can help them with the screening roles. They can lob it up. Him being the threat opens up a lot for both CJ and Dame. My thing is, I'm looking at not only did they get Nance, but they signed Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller is he's a solid big. He can shoot and he can go get it. And I feel like that those additions to what they have, like. I love the fact that, they're keeping Dennis Smith Jr. I love Anthony Simons. I'm looking for a big year from him. So if Anthony Simons and Dennis Smith could, which they're both 23 and 22, or 23 and 24. So if they both could carry a lot of the load and take a lot of load off of CJ and Dame throughout the season, this is a Portland team that, not even throughout the season, if you go throughout the game, if these guys can carry a larger load in the game, what does that do? Because now you have a fresh Dame and you have a fresh CJ at the end of the game. Same thing with Zeller. Zeller's been a starting center since he entered the league. So now you have him backing up Nurkic. Well, guess what? Now you have starter quality players. Dennis Smith averaged 15 points a game as a rookie. So scoring in the NBA is not a problem.
No.
Right. So now when you look at this team and you have Norman Powell, who's played phenomenal since he's been in Portland, since the trade of Gary Trent Jr. So you look at this team, they drafted Greg Brown in the 2nd round, who before the season, a lot of people had him slotted as a top 10, top 5 pick because of his athleticism. It's crazy to think that he wasn't even the best guy in Texas. But, we spoke about the Texas guys and the Texas stable So this is another guy that, he might see time, but yeah, it's gonna come down to coaching. Dame is gonna be Dame, but somebody needs to lighten the load for him.
Dame gonna Dame.
Dame gonna be Dame, but if put it this way, if Dame's minutes are hovering around 34 to 35 minutes a game instead of like that 32 minutes, Dame is gonna be burned out by the end of the season. If they can get one of these guys off the bench to be super consistent, then this Portland team is gonna be tough. Like they can't have injuries. This is a team, and the way the West is set up, this is a team that can't afford injuries, major injuries. Minor injuries, okay. Major injuries.
They prove that every single season.
Yeah, but they find a way to still make it to playoffs every season. This is not the season.
Hot take.
What's up?
CJ McCollum's going to get traded at some point during the season. Things have to change. They are. I'm.
Who do you trade? Who? Looking at this roster, who would you trade him for?
I have no clue. I honestly have no clue. But this is the one team, in my opinion, in the West that did not get better.
Would you trade him for Kyrie?
I mean, if you're Brooklyn, you really probably don't want to make that trade.
Why not?
Kyrie is a lot better than CJ McCollum. But when you have okay, hold on. I'm talking myself into it now. If you have a player like CJ McCollum, who all he needs to do is just shoot that thing, that's a good pick. I mean, possibly, yeah. But what are the COVID restrictions in Portland? Because they're pretty strict.
They're not New York strict, and they're not California strict.
Listen, at some point, that's going to happen this season because they didn't get better. They simply just didn't get better.
My thing is this, though, and we've talked about it with the guards. There aren't too many guards available. There aren't too many guards worth trading because every team is stacked at that position. They have players that can put the ball in the basket. It's just the coaching style, the system. The right system can turn a role player to a superstar.
Yeah.
CJ is a borderline all-star. He's been a borderline all-star for the least last 4 or 5 years. So injuries have held him back, and in a deep Western Conference has held them back. So now it's like, who's available that can make them better? Does Kyrie make them better?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes and no.
He takes more pressure off the Dame. A lot more than
CJ. because he can play the two.
He takes a lot more pressure off the Dame than CJ would. I'm not excited about this team. They didn't get better.
I mean, we've talked about it with the depth that's happening in the West. They have to show it's going to come down to coaching.
They don't have too much stuff.
Let's go to Utah. I'm not saving them for last.
Do we have to?
We do. They're in the Northwest Division now. I mean, I know you don't really like them. I still have them as one of the top teams in the West. I like their additions.
I talk all this crap, and I have them top 4 in the West.
Yeah.
So,
listen, they still got one of the best passers in the league.
Yeah.
Injuries is what hurt them. If they were on pace to have the best record in blowing pretty much every team out of the water record-wise last year, until Donovan Mitchell's injury, they showed that they could still sustain wins and get wins when Donovan Mitchell was hurt. They have a great bench, clearly, because you have 2 guys that was up for 6th Man of the Year last year.
I was just about to say that, dude. They have the second unit. They have the best second unit in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. And then they just added more firepower to it this year. Like, they lose George Niang because he goes to Philly. They trade Derek Favors, but they bring in Hassan Whiteside. And if you ask me, Hassan is a better defender than Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert can't guard anybody.
He can't switch.
He can't guard anybody with the ball, and teams are actually hunting him. So
it makes I know they're probably never going to see this. Those of y'all who vote, like media, stop voting this guy. I don't like. Yeah,
forget stop voting. Give us
his overall team defense. Yeah, it's pretty good. He's in the right position underneath the basket at all times because he can't guard the wing. The fact that teams are
hunting him.
Yeah. And the fact that every single player in the NBA says, yeah, I don't feel threatened. Yeah, I'm still going to tie the basket. Yeah, I want that switch.
If you look at all his blocks are on real small players, right? He doesn't really block his position well. Like he barely defends his position well. And I'm talking about those athletic. What I would like to see from him though is improvement on the offense.
Dude, it's not happening.
It's not, but here's my thing. Have you ever seen Mike Conley with a bad big?
No. This is his worst big he's played with.
Yeah. And that's dating back since high school.
I'll say this. Rudy Gobert, for y'all who think he's a top 5 center, no. I think he barely cracks the 10.
He might. He's on the outside. He's on the outside of 10.
Like he's number 10 when Carlton Towns had to be out for 2 weeks for COVID. Like then he's in the 10th spot. You know, like I think that's and honestly, this is the biggest weakness on this team.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, the way their defensive schemes are, the coach you have to give Snyder credit on that because the defensive schemes and how they work, works together. So once again, I know you're not overly excited about this team. The picking up of Eric Paschall is huge.
They got better. Like this team
huge. Got better. They picked up Rudy Gay. Like, how does your bench, who has already 2 6-man of the year candidates, and you mess around and you pick up Paschall, you pick up Rudy Gay, you pick up Hassan Whiteside to add to those guys.
This team got better. And what were they? Number 2? Were they second in the West?
Second in the West, I believe. Second or third.
And they got better.
And then, because there's an and then. You ready for this?
Yeah, what's up?
They drafted one of the players I think could be a steal in the draft in the second round, and Jared Butler.
Yeah, I mean, he's
from Baylor. Like when I watched Baylor play in the championship, I looked at Jared Butler. Jared Butler reminded me of Ray Allen, the way later Ray Allen, not early Ray Allen, later Ray Allen, where how the game came to him. He's a lights out shooter. How do you add another lights out shooter at the guard position?
They do a really good job drafting.
And he plays defense.
Yeah, they do a really good job drafting. This team got better. Besides Rudy Gobert, they're gonna be straight. Like they're gonna be.
He's not even the best Rudy on the team.
No, he's not. He really isn't. They're gonna be a shoo-in for the playoffs. So they're gonna be a top 16. They're gonna be top 16. They're gonna be consistent. They're gonna be solid.
I mean,
I'm not super excited, but they're gonna be solid.
I got some stuff, but we're not gonna talk about it right now about them because we're gonna wait till we get to the Western, like our whole thing with the Western Conference.
Are we headed to the mountains?
Yeah, you know it. We're gonna go Mount High.
Perfect. Shout out to Cece.
Shout out to Cece if she ever watches this.
So tell us a little bit about Denver this year, or what they did this offseason.
Denver being my brother's favorite team, me and him talk about it a lot. This is a team that I won't say they got better per se on paper as far as additions, but sometimes less is more. And this is a team that with less being more is probably going to be beneficial to them.
Explain.
They have had so much talent over the course of the last 5-6 years. A lot of talent that they had to trade. They lose Paul Millsap, which, if you ask me, is huge. It's huge, but it's beneficial. Why? Because Bo's been sitting on the bench waiting for some time, right? To get some time. This is a make or break. It's a make or break year. I didn't like what I saw from him in the summer league. But does he crack the rotation this year? I think he can.
What's up with their point guard?
Campazzo?
No. Dwight Murray.
Murray's pretty much out for the whole year.
Really?
I mean, he tore his ACL. I'm not I'm not going to.
He's still young.
Yeah, I mean,
let them in sit.
But this is a guy who me and you talked before the injuries, and we wasn't wishing injuries on him, but we said that Denver needed to trade him. Because in order for Michael Porter Jr. to be who Michael Porter Jr. that we know he could be, they had to trade Murray.
And when the Magic actually made that trade to get RJ Hampton and Garrett Harris, I was shocked because I thought they really needed to trade Murray. So I was shocked that they traded their two guys who played that backup point guard position for them, which in the playoffs you saw what they needed, you know.
I mean, but they still have Monte Morris, and Monte Morris was playing good the year before, but injuries.
You got Campazzo who played fine. They picked up Austin Rivers. Yeah, you picked up Austin Rivers.
I love that pickup.
Honestly, great pickup midway through the season, right? Like that was a great pickup. And
I'm anxious to see what he does with them after going through training camp. Same thing with Aaron Gordon. My thing is this: when it comes down to Austin, we're both Austin guys. You know, like you can't tell us nothing wrong about Austin. Mm-mm. It's always been a confidence thing with him when he got in the league.
I never allow Austin River slander. No. I'm not doing that. Anytime I see his high school mixtape come across my timeline, it's an instant retweet every single time.
Listen, he just got drafted by a team with a coach that didn't know what to do with him, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's it.
But
he goes to any other team, dude. That's a different story.
He has that killer in him. You know, he doesn't like to lose. Like I said, I think he's a great addition because now he's to the point where he's played with Hall of Famers. He's won. He knows how to win. And I don't care what anybody says. If you looked at what he was doing with the Knicks early last season, him getting cut from the Knicks last year, to me, was a travesty because it's like the Knicks could have used him in Atlanta series. Yeah. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a better situation for Austin. Denver's guards are stacked. Like, they're stacked. Whether Morey comes back or not, they're still stacked.
I think their weak point in my opinion is at power forward center position. So Aaron Gordon, he's not going to be there for a full preseason. Yep. He's going to get that under control. He's actually playing in the right position now, which is going to be huge. So the moving of Paul Millsap is going to be great. It's going to be great for Aaron Gordon, right? He's going to be in his actual position. But the only difference is with Murray out, he now moves up to the third option. I don't like that.
But I don't mind it. I don't mind him as a third option. You know why? Because the problem
playmaker next to him.
Well, in Orlando, his biggest issue was when he was supposed to be the number 1 or number 2 option. He had 2 guys that was like, "Nah, dog, you're not getting it."
And not just that.
He would go for 20 something.
Okay. When he was the option, he had the ball in his hand.
Yes.
At third option here, the ball's not in his hand.
But it's okay because it plays to his strength. So, and it plays to Denver's strength. You have 2 phenomenal passers in Campazzo and in Jokic. Like, we haven't even really mentioned Jokic, right? And we're talking Denver. We haven't, we talked Bobo a little bit, but understand, like, Jokic is easily one of the top 10 passers in the league. Easily. Campazzo, if he's not in that 10, he's on the outskirts of top 10 passer. I'm not saying point guard, passer, meaning he could get the ball wherever he wants. He sees parts of the floor that most people can't see, and he makes a lot of impossible passes, and he makes them possible. That's what I mean when I say top 10 passer. This conference alone has two, maybe. I mean, this division alone has 3 of the top 10, 15 passers in the league, and Mike Conley, Jokic, they're top 5, top 5, top 10 easily, right? And then you look at Campazzo. It took Campazzo half a season to get adjusted and get acclimated. Campazzo's been a winner everywhere he's gone. So I don't see it being a factor for him. If Barton could stay healthy, that helps him out a lot. I'm looking for, we're both looking for a big year from Michael Porter Jr. He signed that contract, between him. The Nuggets signed him and AG. So, that's where they're going for the next 3 to 4 years. Their window is what they see there. They've drafted Bones Highland, who
I'm all right with it.
Who has a capability of being another steal in this draft. He can get it. He can definitely go after it and get buckets. He did it, last year in college. Now, if that can translate, even minimally, because I don't see him playing over Monte Morris right now, right? I don't see. They got Marcus Howard. They picked up Marcus Howard from Marquette, and he was lights out. This dude dropped 50 in college, or 60 or something like
that. They draft well.
Yeah, no, they draft and sign because they still got PJ Dozier too. So
hey man, the NBA is not testing for marijuana no more. So I mean, that's a great spot for people.
Listen,
to go.
That's why Red Eyes is there, Mr. 50, Red Eyes 50.
Red Eyes 50, Mr. 50. I mean, yeah, that's why he's there. I want to say this, Jokic. I know he came back in shape last season.
Mm-hmm.
No, he actually looks in shape this season. So last season he lost weight, right? When he came back to the preseason, I was like, yo, this dude looks different. He's toned. He actually maintained and improved. This is gonna be scarier, right? Because I think with the way he looks, he's moving better. He's moving better, guys. So yeah, this team's gonna be good. This team's gonna be solid.
Hands down. I mean,
they draft well. I do think at some point they're gonna part ways with Bobo. He's not gonna see the floor. He's not. I mean, between Gordon, if I'm looking at this depth chart properly, even though like I have my doubts about Aaron Gordon, he's on the right team, playing his actual position. He's gonna do fine. They have Jeff Green. They have Nikola Jokic. JaMychal. They have JaMychal Green.
Yeah, but JaMychal Green's minutes of the course of last year went down considerably. I don't see him gaining a lot of minutes.
I'm not saying he's going to gain minutes, but Bobo's not taking those minutes.
He lost his minutes last year to Ken Kerr, and Ken Kerr was playing really, really good last year.
Listen.
And now that he's in his second year with Denver, I'm looking for him to take over the Paul Millsap minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
So not Bobo, Ken Kerr. I think Bobo. They played him more in the preseason. He looked better in the preseason than he did in Summer League.
I'm just gonna let this because I think every single podcast we've said this and we haven't said it yet. Once again, another Oregon guy dropping tremendously in the draft, and now in the NBA, he's not really getting his fair share. Don't know what's going on. It just has to be said.
The problem is with the league being so talented. Where does he go where he can get an opportunity to play? Philly.
I'm gonna close my eyes. Sacramento.
They're not even playing. They're not even playing Bagley.
I don't know. Memphis. I don't know.
You got Chet coming in. You got the dude from France coming in. Like you got these people coming in.
You got AP.
Yeah, you got AP and OKC. Like you can't tell me that he can't get it done. And this is my problem. This is my problem with the league is because you got guys like Thor. Not Thor.
You got Thon Maker.
Thon Maker was a small forward. He was a 3-4, and y'all put him in, you force him in a 5. And it's like, yo, you're hurting this dude's position because as a coach, you don't know what to do with a player that's that skilled at that height.
You know what that tells me?
They're ahead of their.
They're not retaining the plays or the information the coaches want. That's all that tells me, right? We're talking about players here that really haven't. And Bobo's a little different because he grew up here in America. But we're talking about players when I watch them play. Are they running a play or are they creating a play?
So here's what you got. Listen, Thon Maker is John.
That's an old man. Thon Maker, old man.
Thon Maker's like 25, maybe 26.
Thon Maker might be 34.
No, he's not, bro. Like, stop.
Okay.
You're not doing that. I know out of all people, you are not doing that.
I am.
Not allowing that slander.
It's okay. It's okay. But like, there's something going on with the guys from Oregon. The only one so far who's had a clean shot is Pritchard from Boston.
That's another story for another day.
That's another story. He went to the perfect.
So as we,
if it wasn't Boston, it would have been Utah.
Good. I mean, so as we about to wrap up the Northwest Division, let's get busy. Who do you see as Coach of the Year? Let's talk predictions.
Coach of the Year, it's either going to be Utah or Denver. Mike Malone with Denver or Snyder with Utah. One of those two.
I got Snyder. I mean, yeah, I don't see. I'm gonna be honest. I see Utah jumping out in the gate, and I don't see any team catching them.
Yeah.
At least standing wise.
Yeah.
Who you got for Rookie of the Year?
Josh Giddey. He's gonna get the most playing time.
I could bang with that. The only other one I think could compete is Jared Butler. But Giddey,
he's gonna have opportunity.
But Giddey's gonna get the minutes.
Yeah.
Giddey's gonna, like, in order for Jared Butler to get like real minutes, injuries are gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about how deep the depth of Utah's bench. I feel like he's gonna get opportunity, but is he gonna take away from Donovan Mitchell? Is he gonna take away from Mike Conley? Mike Conley, who's has a history of injuries. So that could open up the door. So, but definitely I'm gonna go with Giddey. I'm riding the Giddey train. Most improved player in this division.
Michael Porter Jr., especially with Murray out, a lot more of the offense will actually have to go through him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna be able to. He's shooting efficiently. The dude, there's not a shot he doesn't like. I mean, just like his buddy down there in Atlanta. I mean, those dudes can shoot the ball. They can score. I think his body is, he's been NBA ready. I think the sun is like perfectly in my face going down. Sorry, guys. Michael Porter Jr.
I like that pickup. I'm a Michael Porter Jr. guy. So I got 3 players.
Hit me.
I got a guy from the Nuggets in Kerr. I mentioned him earlier.
Okay.
Kerr. I think the minutes are gonna suit him because he's that 3-4. He can play that 4-5, and he can give Jokic a rest. So if he improves and he can give Jokic a rest as far as minutes go, I think he's gonna be huge.
The sun is wild.
My other guy that I got, possibly most improved is Anthony Simons.
I'm okay with that.
I think it's time for him, his contract is coming up, so you said what?
That was my number 2 pick.
And then the other guy I got is Anthony Edwards. Like, he still has room to improve. He still has room to grow, so
I think he's still figuring out. I wouldn't be mad. I'm not mad with that either. I think by year 3, once he started getting the timing of his shot, he started getting the timing of his moves. He started to hit a lot more of his jump shots. So I'm not mad at that.
My thing is this: if D'Lo and Cat are healthy, Anthony Edwards can average 20 points a game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So if he averages 20 points a game, he's hands down gonna,
must improve.
Yeah.
All right. So who you got for MVP?
Ooh, child, I got 5.
No, dude, you're not going to give me 3. No,
I got 5 to choose from. I got 5 to choose from. Every team got MVP.
No, there's only be 3. Listen, there's only be 3 teams.
I'm gonna go with Cat. I think he's out for a vengeance. I'm just gonna stick to that one. I'm not even gonna give you my other ones, but I'm definitely gonna stick to Cat. I'm not gonna do none of the other ones. If Utah wins, it's because of Donovan Mitchell, right? Nuggets win. There's no way anybody gives Jokic, anybody on the Nuggets outside of Jokic, an MVP.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Cat.
I'm gonna go, like, I had originally Jokic on here, possible back-to-back, but I think Utah. I mean, we saw how many players they had in the All-Star game, right?
They only needed 1 in there, but That's a
They
conversation
only
for
need to
another
win.
day.
They only need a winning name. They have 2 dudes up for 6th man of the year, but yet their best player on the team isn't getting any respect. I'm gonna go with my man Spider Mitchell.
D Mitch. Yo.
Yeah.
I rock them Dom twos, so they're the only Adidas right now. But until I get some trades. I need to get some trades. If you're out there and you like me enough to get me some Trae Youngs, I wear size 11. Hit my DMs. Just saying. The pair I want is sold out. But anyway, Trae Young, if you see this, you probably won't see this because it's not about Atlanta. So, Dane, if you see this, I'll rock your sneakers too.
Come on.
I don't really bang with Adidas, but them 3 are the only guys on Adidas I'll rock their sneakers. Until Jalen Green gets some sneakers. Yo, when is Michael Porter Jr. getting some Pumas?
Not happening.
What you mean?
He's too controversial.
The Mellows just came out.
He's too controversial.
Controversy, man. I don't know if you know this. Good or bad publicity is all good publicity.
Puma doesn't want to be associated as I'm not saying that around here.
We're not having that conversation. You know what? Let's wrap this up. Listen, once again, thank you for your time sitting in on our conversation. This time our conversation was about the Northwest Division for the NBA 2021 to 2022 season, preview of the season. Thank you guys for having us. Well, you know how that works. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, hit all the buttons, and then leave a comment. Share it, let your favorite players hear it or whatever. Matter of fact, put this date down. Put this date down because chances are your favorite basketball players are going to repeat what we said in a year or two.
I don't know what's going on. We got to wrap up.
We're wrapping up. So until next time, y'all continue to be great.
Be easy.